Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and this is episode 17 of my Fallout 4 No Loot Challenge run. The rules, in short, are that I am not allowed to pick up anything out of the world or out of a container using the A button on my Xbox here. Notable exception is crops. I am playing on survival mode. I need something for my character to eat. I also need something to barter with for the junk that I need in order to play the game. You join me today at nearly the very bottom of the Med-Tek Research Center, and I am not going to lie, this is actually the third time I have made this particular run through this particular dungeon. And the first time, MacReady just suddenly died when I got it in the elevator. No explanation. Second time, the video footage was corrupted. So we're here for the third time, and we are going to try and get the cure for MacReady's son. I am making an exception, I think, to my rules about looting by proxy with companions because, well, for one, I just really want MacReady's perk. I also am trying to understand the rules about marked quest items and what companions will pick up and what they won't. For example, Piper was willing to pick up a fern. I threw it away because I didn't think it was really the right thing to do. But that was not a marked quest item. MacReady, on the other hand, picked up a holotape that was a marked quest item. And that really surprised me. It surprised me so much that I actually regrettably decided to roll with it. And when I realized that that was probably not the right thing to do, it was too late. It was really minor. It really doesn't affect the outcome of the game. And ultimately, this run was a fail in episode 1 anyways, right? I had to pick out the Pip-Boy in Vault 111 just to start the game. Anyway, companions typically refuse to pick up marked quest items. But I guess the point is that you just kind of never know. I'm really interested to see what happens when we get to Kellogg, but for now, we have this security door to open, and as I said, this is the third time that I ran this dungeon, so I kind of just gave up on trying to get footage throughout the dungeon. It turns out that this 10mm pistol kind of makes the whole thing ridiculously easy anyway, so yeah, I just have elected to skip to the end so that you guys can kind of see what's going to happen when we try and have MacReady pick up our... Uh-oh. We are missing all of our shots, and that could be a problem. Oh no. Because... I am very much of a glass cannon. Mary is not able to take many hits, and okay. So yeah, there I was singing the praises of my 10mm pistol, and then it just missed all the shots. So, MacReady, here we are. We're in the lab, and we are, you know what? Like there, I want you to go right here. Okay? I want you to go right here, and I want you to pick up that medicine for your son so that he doesn't die. Do you think you could do that? Is that something you might be willing to do? take half a step and get the life-saving medicine for your son? No, it is not. Instead,
Get that.
you're just going to walk away. And I think that means you're not nearly as good a father as you think you are. MacReady, get back here.
Head over there. Go there.
Easy.
And
There.
yeah, try as I might, and believe me, I tried a lot more than this the first time I managed to get MacReady down here. He won't get it.
Pick that up.
He will not pick up.
Grab
He
that.
will not pick up the medicine. He will not save his son. Which sucks, because it means that all of my time traveling with MacReady, trying to work my way towards this perk, is been a waste of time and is foiled literally in the last moment. Unbelievable, and yet somehow predictable. I have a quest log that is just chock full of quests that I cannot complete, because it turns out that most of the quests in Fallout 4 are fetch quests. So I can't complete that. This one, I did complete it, and for some reason it just won't clear off my quest log. I don't know why. Can't do any of those except for investigate the Museum of Witchcraft and explore the combat zone, which we'll get to eventually. But the rest of this stuff, fetch quest, fetch quest, fetch quest, fetch quest, fetch quest, fetch it. Actually, we don't know about that one yet. Haven't got there yet. Broken, the strange signal just doesn't play anything. Haven't been in the neighborhood to try that one yet. And that one, fetch quest, you have to pick up the key off of Ellie. That one, Valentine's Detective Agency, we're going to have to eventually get to that, but we haven't done it yet. And so, yeah, like, almost everything is a fetch quest. So the Silver Shroud. Fetch quest. It turns out long road ahead. Fetch quest. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair in calling all these things fetch quests, but my point is that the vast majority of quests in Fallout 4 you complete by picking up an item. So, our plans are foiled with MacReady, and I'm not exactly sure what to do next. So, I am going to head back to Taffington Boathouse and have a think about what we are going to do for next steps. Well, I had to think about it, and I have traveled back to Good Neighbor because we're going to try and do the big dig. I think that Hancock is probably the next most available companion, and although his perk is not all that exciting for Mary's character, as I've said before, I want to try and pick up as many companion perks as I can, because I can't get magazines or bobbleheads, and so those companion perks do become increasingly valuable. So some good news, the Rad Storm is over, and better news, we have picked up a level while we were coming down here, and I think that probably perception is going to be the thing, because we still can't quite get Gun Nut 4. We're aiming at that at level 39, but otherwise I'm not often running out of action points, and so some additional accuracy with rifles would be nice. And as I've said, I would like to eventually get the sniper and penetrator perks unlocked. So another rank of endurance is also tempting, but I think we can wait on that. Let's get another rank of perception. You know, eventually I would like to get Action Girl, but again, we don't need that right away. As for other higher level things in agility, Gun Fu is nice, but since I'm really aiming at trying to kill enemies in one shot, I don't think we're going to go for it. Anyways, that's good news, and better news, I found something in Cleo's inventory that is a very happy find.
Let's see what you've got.
Because I thought that the suppressor for the combat rifle would not spawn in vendor inventories. I still haven't seen a 308 receiver for the combat rifle, but I have found a suppressed combat rifle. And although it is expensive, I don't want to wait another 5 levels to get that suppressed, because I would really like to ditch the pipe rifle. And so that was a fantastic find. I still can't, as I said, get the 308 receiver on it, but you know, the 308 receiver only adds a little bit of extra damage. And actually, I was going to put on my armor, but we may have some persuasion checks to make, so let's go talk to Bobby. And maybe, if we're lucky, we'll run across a weapon workbench soon so that we can get the suppressor onto our new rifle. I'm trying to remember if there's anything upstairs worth looking at. Can we? Well, we can't hack that, so... And I think it's just a little bit of lore anyway. So let's go down and say hello to Bobby and maybe negotiate a price for this job.
Ready to get to work?
Well, I guess I'd like to know what we're doing before...
Look, we're pulling a job here. Big payoff. Taking some things that aren't technically ours yet.
Not really Mary's bag, taking things that don't belong to her. But I guess as long as it's Bobby that's doing the taking and not me...
Curious type, eh? All right, I'll spell it out for you. You are gonna be doing some...
For buried treasure? Well, that's... I mean, that's less stealing, I guess.
You could call it that.
Oh, nice. The voice line was buried. I had forgotten.
The other two are down
lay
there
off the
digging
questions.
already.
Well, okay. Let's see what we've got going down here. If I remember right, it is Mirelurks. And since we are going to be ditching this pipe rifle soon, and because you can't get nearly as much caps for selling ammo as you have to spend for buying it, you might as well try to use up as much of this 50 caliber ammo while we can. And
I think we can finally get
yep,
See
okay.
what's on the other side. Oh yeah. You
And
think Bobby will pay us this week? I don't know, man. It's starting to feel like we're doing charity.
pay us this week. Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Fire alerts! Fail! Bobby can take this job.
Alright, well, let's take care of these Mirelurks then. I can get a decent shot on the left arm here. So, see if that'll be enough to take the first one out. And not a a good shot on the head and add action points. So we'll just do some sniping of the body manually, and there we go. 3 dead mirelurks. And I bet they're tasty, but Mary doesn't do any kind of slaughtering because she just finds it icky. Let's go back and talk to Bobby and see what we're going to do now, since her workers ran off. Guns away, and I never did put my armor on. Oops.
What is going on in my tunnel?
Dude,
Mirelurks.
that room was filled with mirelurks.
At least you put up a better fight than those good-for-nothings. Well, you stuck around at least.
In self-defense,
So I guess
anyway.
you're promoted. You get to be my new gun. I think we just need one more guy. An old friend. He'll want a fair cut, but...
Yeah, like not paying your workers is not a good way to inspire loyalty.
Who is
But
this?
who
he's
are
just
we
the guy who
gonna go
needs to
get?
speed things along. Likes gadgets, money, and not much else. First, I think it's best if you actually...
Sounds like my kind of guy.
I have some things to check on it.
Likes gadgets and
Head
money,
over to the
and
noodle shop there, and I'll meet you when I finish up my business.
so off to Diamond City. I wonder if we can actually just follow Bobby all the way to Diamond City, or if she will warp there if we run ahead. Not sure, but I will join you at the Noodle Cup stand in Diamond City. Actually, before we head over to Diamond City, I decided to make a brief pit stop here at Hangman's Alley, just to make sure that I would have any resources that I needed to move this suppressor over. Taking a look at the other mods that are on this thing, and really the suppressor is the only thing that I want. And alright, no resources required to remove the suppressor. I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to be caught short at the weapon workbench in Diamond City. And let's go ahead and put this suppressor on, since we've already got the mod. It takes no resources, and that is pretty good. What is going to happen when we manage to switch this over to 308? We're at 147 damage now, and when we get to 308, we'll be at 162. So nice increase, but not catastrophic, which means that I don't feel as rushed to try and get some additional levels. As for my crops around here, already picked them, already sold them to the local vendors. Got plenty of caps in hand if we find anything good at Diamond City. While I was at Hangman's Alley, I went ahead, got my radiation healed, got well rested, and got my character fed and watered. I also, in between Med-Tek and Good Neighbor there, did a circuit of some of my settlements, picked some crops, and just kind of topped up my consumables. I've got my ammo topped up, and my water and food, and so all of that's looking good. Cricket, what do you have? Do you have
Cricket.
a 308 receiver for a combat rifle? Because
Sure.
it would be pretty cool
Let's
if
take a
you
look.
did.
Part of every big purchase goes to planning little.
What do we got here? And let's see, that is the hunting rifle, and it's not looking. Let's see, it's pipe and pipe Yep, no luck there, but that's okay. We also have Arturo inside to see if he might have any. So let's go say hello to him before we go talk to Bobby. And I guess while we're at it, we can sell that combat rifle that we don't need anymore. Since we're not lugging crops today, it's not that important about the carry weight, but we might as well get it done while we have a vendor available to us and while we're thinking about it. Hello, Arturo.
Everyone does.
Let's see what you have.
I am not buying today unless you've got a 308 receiver for a combat rifle, but we can go ahead and sell you that one. We don't need that one anymore. We just are going to stick with Overseer's Guardian. What do you got? Arturo, do you have a 308? Doesn't look like it. I don't think any of... He's got some combat rifles, but none of them say 308 in the description, so I don't think that... Yeah, hardened, powerful. Yep, no 308. So that's too bad. What do we have for armor? I remember you had some very expensive armor. And no, I've said before, I feel like protection from a particular enemy type is just too situational. I don't want to give up the bonuses that I'm getting with the pieces that I've got. Myrna, you have weapons every once in a while. Maybe you got a 308 rifle. No luck. And that's too bad. I've also been keeping an eye out for some more patrolman's glasses for my companion and maybe another bandana. But you do have some Captain Cosmos boxes. I have been kind of quietly picking these up in the background since I found that vending machine where I could turn them in. So have not actually looked to see what I'm going to get. I decided to kind of leave it a surprise. We'll see if it was worth my while or not. And for junk, I just want to check and see if you have any ballistic weave. I'm not seeing the military ammo bag or military duct tape, so I don't think that we've got any ballistic weave. And real quick, there's Bobby. We're going to come back and say hi to Bobby, but let's go take a look in Fallon's. Starting to accumulate enough caps that some of the more expensive armor pieces are potentials. I would still like to get the other 3 store types in my settlement, but since stores generate caps, I am damage from robots. I don't need that. Since stores generate caps, that I'm kind of hoping that the first 3 stores can finance the last 3 stores. But I did see something in Becky's inventory here that is very intriguing, and that is a hazmat suit. Now, I don't need a hazmat suit right now. I kind of don't want to carry around 5 pounds of weight until I do need a hazmat suit, but it's not a guaranteed spawn in her inventory. And so since it's available and because I'm going to probably need one eventually and I won't be able to pick one up, I think it's good that we came over here. In fact, that is actually so good that I am going to run back to Hangman's Alley and drop a save.
Let's get you examined
So,
right away.
actually, before I
Time is
do,
not on the side.
son, do you have any
Use some
antibiotics?
supplies,
Because
I suppose
I
I could spare
am
some
running
packs.
low. I've only got one dose left, and you do. Boy, they're expensive, but if you get an infection in the middle of a quest, you just gotta have some. Anyway, yeah, I am gonna run back to Hangman's Alley. I don't want to lose this this hazmat suit, so I'll come back to you in a minute. Well, it's a good thing that I went back to Hangman's Alley and saved my game to keep hold of that hazmat suit, because I went through that entire doggone dungeon and
Show up. Yes.
made it out. It was very long and very nerve-wracking, and
Now let's get
could not find a place to save when I exited.
Diamond City is the main.
And so I made a very nervous walk back to
Guy has it covered.
Diamond City and
Without treats my kind.
bought a couple of bottles. And rather than save in Diamond City, I said I will just go back to Hangman's Alley.
Let's get
And
started.
what do you know? The game crashed.
Attitude. So, what do you
So
make this party?
I have to do the entire
I
doggone
managed to
thing
track down
again
my tech
because
His name's
it
Nacho.
was something like an hour and a half
Diamond City.
without a
The
save.
guy can make a
And
gadget to solve any problem. Thing is,
you know,
he's a bit
Fallout's gonna fall out sometime, and
have to get him out of there.
I'm frustrated by
Stroll into Diamond City
that game
security.
crash. But
Covered or not.
the good news is that
Tell me about this security.
I know that dungeon now, and I should be able to make it through. I know kind of the branching paths and the dead ends, and so
Pick a lock, find it.
it's not going to be a problem, right? The other thing is that I did record my adventures in that dungeon, but in hindsight, they really aren't
You again.
all that interesting.
All right, got plenty of...
And so
Let's see what you have.
you are going to get to be spared the trip through the dungeon. However, I am going to show off at least some of the dialogue and a few other things, and I know that this trip is going to be very resource intensive. I used a lot of consumables when it came to food and water going through there, and so I am going to take this opportunity to look for bottles. I don't think the lab bottle can be filled with water. So, unfortunately, nothing available from Myrna. But that's okay. We have a guy to go spring out of jail. And our tech expert here is Mel. And Mel,
Ain't no shit.
I am here to get you out of
Mel
prison.
here. That's all I'm
Can I
looking
help
for.
you?
I am getting you out of here.
If so, maybe you shouldn't be announcing it so every guard in Diamond City can hear. Guards asked me
okay.
to take a look, but it was a
Well, isn't that interesting about a Projectron? But even though Mary has agreed to essentially steal from Mayor McDonough because, well, frankly, he's kind of a douchebag. But
Officer,
Don't worry.
come on, I know you want to talk to me about letting Mel out. Maybe it's not that guy. One of these guards is here. We go. Here's the
Couple
guard.
girl. She kept the cap off the toothpaste.
Anyways, yeah, I don't think violence is the
Hey,
right
officer.
answer against Diamond City
something to
security,
say?
even though, as I said, we've agreed to steal from McDonough.
I
The
will
funny
take
thing
you
is that if
to
we
my
just
spot.
ask nicely,
No Mel had friends.
they'll let him
Pretty
out.
much done his time.
So,
He opened up the door.
Uh,
Right.
Officer,
yeah, I'm not sure why we had to come all the way over here and spring him when they were fixing to let him out anyway. And
Let's just...
in fact, when we talk to Mel, he is even going to say so. But we can follow him out because maybe we don't want to talk about stealing from the Diamond City strong room in the middle of security, because I have a feeling they might object to that. And here we go. Hello, Mel.
Mel.
Let's
Here's what
talk.
this is about, but let's talk once we make some distance, okay?
No, let's
Thanks
talk
for
now.
Getting me out, I guess.
You guess.
You're Bobby's new...
Listen,
I'm
Mel,
not
I
anyone's
am not anyone's toy.
That woman doesn't have a patient bone in her body. I wasn't... What? She couldn't wait, like, a day?
A
the
day.
job?
Yeah.
How'd
Diamond
you like
City
to
Strong
break
Room.
into the Diamond City Strong?
Well, damn. That's a big score. Could be enough cash
Could
there
be.
to keep me going
Could be.
for a long time. Bobby may be shady, but she always pays up in the end. So
I'm not sure that that Bobby always pays up in the end. After all, those last guys didn't get paid. Nevertheless, I am going to put my armor on, and we are going to take a trip over to Good Neighbor. Now, I am actually going to take a slightly more dangerous route through Diamond City than I strictly need to, for a couple of reasons. One, I am going to poke my head into the library. She did it on the last trip, but I want to try and replicate that as best I can. What we're going to find in the library is that, yes, there is a magazine available for 50 of those overdue book tokens. And at 5 tokens per book, and I have 5 tokens from the book that what's her name and Good Neighbor gave me, that is going to mean I need to find 9 more overdue books in vendor inventories. So far, I haven't found one, so I'm not optimistic that that is a thing we will ever accomplish. But it is perhaps a skill magazine that we would be able to get. The other reason why I'm going to take a more dangerous route is I would like to use up some of this ammo for the pipe rifle. Once we have used it all up, we'll be able to switch over to the combat rifle full time. But for now, we can miss that guy. Oh, that sucks. Anyways, yeah, I will join you again once we get to Good Neighbor. We are back at the dig site, and we've used a bunch of our 50 caliber ammo, and we have gotten our adrenaline all the way up to 30%, and we have gotten ourselves a bunch of experience points. A couple things that are not as good. I was drinking out of dirty puddles on the way over here to try and conserve my purified water, and what do you know, I got an infection, and that is one that absolutely you just have to take antibiotics. Which means that I used very expensive antibiotics to save not nearly as expensive water. Not very happy about that. We're impressed by what this robot is, though, and
I modified her radio system.
we're going to see what she can do here in a minute.
Sediment around.
One other piece of news from the trip over, and that is that I check my stats every once in a while just to make sure that I haven't done anything that I'm not supposed to do, and I'll point out that I have still 0 chests looted, which is good. If you're looking at the junk collected stat there, I explained in a much earlier episode that every time you buy a piece of junk, it ticks that stat up. And I had thought about trying to keep track of that every time I visited a vendor, but it was just going to be too much trouble and not really make for compelling viewing. But what's really interesting is over here in the crime tab. Now, locks picked, computers hacked. Every time I come across a novice lock or novice computer, I'll go ahead and crack it just for the handful of experience points. Doesn't matter that I can't, loot that safe or loot the little supply room that a terminal might open or whatever. Just want the experience points. The assaults are on Mama Murphy. I had to whack her with a baseball bat to get her out of her chair so that we could do our little skits with the Mama Murphy Revenge. So I understand those. The trespasses are from the warehouses in Goodneighbor. There were 3 originally, and then I stuck my head back in a couple of them just to try and see why the quest was not clearing. So we got 5 trespasses. Murders, though. I feel like murder is not something Mary would do, and yet we have a murder on our record, and I don't know why. I can't recall murdering anybody. I feel like that is something I would remember, and it is just really frustrating. I went back as far as my save games would allow, which is not very far since we can only go back 3 save games in survival mode. And yeah, no indication as to what's going on with that. If you saw something that I did in an episode that, we do not want to get cornered by a razor claw. They can probably get us in one hit. If you saw something I did in an episode that maybe could explain what's going on there, I want to know about it. But otherwise, I just don't remember committing murder. So that is a bit of a disappointment, but really, it's not against the rules of the run. It's just kind of not what I feel like Mary would do. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and fight a bunch of Mirelurks, which is not going to be all that exciting, and then we will come back to you when we get close to the end of the dungeon. We have finished making our way through a very long dungeon. So long, in fact, that we have leveled up twice, and our adrenaline would be at maximum rank, except that I found a sleeping bag. Now, I thought if you did a quick save that would reduce your adrenaline to 0. And that's why I didn't take advantage of this sleeping bag last time, because I thought that I might have to fight in the final room, in the final encounter. As it turns out, you don't have to fight. And I know that because I've already had to do this dungeon once. And we can actually talk our way out of the final encounter.
You sure this is the right
Bobby,
place?
I don't think
I
so.
think Diamond City should be a little
Mel's
further
been
north.
skeptical the entire time, and
How about a little trust for the boss?
I think that somebody who keeps saying that they need to be trusted is probably not very trustworthy.
Well, we
But-
can find out the answer.
That's
Honestly, Bobby, if you're lying, we're gonna know here in a minute.
We still need a way to get up there, though. Mel, you think...
Look at this place. The foundation is already crumbled. One blast from Sonya.
So, yep, we're gonna make Sonya collapse the floor for us, and let's just get out of here, because we don't want to be in the room when that happens. Sonya does less digging and more breaking through walls, but I guess that's still kind of okay. I mean, realistically, a city as old as Boston,
That didn't sound.
even before the Great War,
Now let's get up in it.
would be just completely honeycombed with tunnels and basements and stuff underneath it. I mean, it's probably more dirt than it is, or sorry, more air than it is dirt down there.
We don't need that thing anymore anyway.
And poor Mel, he's sad about Sonya, but Bobby is right. he can make another robot once we get this score. So, in fact, let's go ahead and go get that done. And oh, what a surprise. It is not actually the Diamond City strong room. Turns out Mary is a fairly inept criminal. After all, this run started with her being caught shoplifting. That's why she was in the no loot mood anyway. And what do you know? Let's go ahead and eat since we're hungry. And what do you know? The next time she tries to go and deliberately commit a crime, she's stealing from the wrong person. Because she agreed to steal from McDonough, who has been kind of a douchebag and kicked ghouls out, and Mary thinks that that's not okay.
I see the rest of you are in the
Stealing from Hancock, on the other hand, is really not what Mary, I think, would do. I mean, she does not necessarily approve of Hancock's love of drugs, but
there is still a
his attitude towards personal liberty really aligns with her morals, and overall, he has treated her decently, although he is kind of a scary guy. I mean, the first time we saw him, he stabbed a dude to death for crossing him.
Come on, Bobby. At least if we leave now, we leave with our lives.
Well, shit.
And there we go. We have talked Bobby down,
But I
and
know when I'm outmatched.
it is time for her to leave.
I don't know why I trusted you again, Bobby.
For myself, on the other hand, I have another conversation to have. And before I do, I want to put on my Smarty Pants hat just so we can try and gain just a tad more experience, because we're still gunning for that. Oh, let's not have the conversation through the floor. We're still gunning for level 39 so that we can get Gun Nut 4. Fahrenheit.
You made the right move.
Would you like to turn around and talk to me? Or there you go. I am super sorry about this. This is not what I intended.
You didn't know what you were doing. Here, take this. A token for doing the right thing.
And she hands over Ashmaker, which is just a fantastic gun. Except that there's no way they're going to be able to afford enough bullets for this thing. So rather than lug this around, because it does weigh 27, and we're, as I said, not going to be able to afford the bullets to use it consistently, we are going to sell this, which is too bad. As I said, that is a really good gun, but just does not suit my playstyle.
You should go pay your respects in person. It's best.
Fahrenheit, I plan to, because I get the feeling that Hancock might even want to go on an adventure with me. Can I get through here to get to the door? No. So let's go ahead and get out of here. I think that, since I have a save this time, that walk back to Diamond City is just not nearly so scary. So I will join you again after we've visited Diamond City and once we're back in Before I head over to Good Neighbor, I went ahead and made a pit stop here at Hangman's Alley. Did all the normal things, picked crops, got my diseases cured, cured my radiation, got well rested, all the things you do at your settlements. But there is one last sad duty that I have to perform. It is time to let go of our bolt-action sniper rifle. And this thing has been a faithful companion since, I want to say, like episode 2 of the series. It's been a long time, killed a lot of enemies with it, but it's time to set her down. But In honor of her good service, we have given her a name. We have called her Betsy. And now that she's here, we're not allowed to pick her up ever again, because that would be pushing the A button to take something out of a container and put it into my inventory. Farewell, Betsy. You have given long and faithful service. But good news is that we still have Overseer's Guardian and Old Faithful to service in Betsy's stead. On to Good Neighbor. On my way to talk to Hancock, I stopped in to do some bartering with Daisy and Cleo. And what do you know, but I found something exciting in Cleo's inventory here. Now, I have been under the impression that the 308 receiver for the combat rifle would not spawn in vendor inventories. I thought that a lot of the top-level gun mods did not spawn in vendor inventories, and that was the reason why you might want to take Gun Nut. But it turns out this modification, at least, does appear in vendor inventories from time to time. This combat sniper rifle has a 308 receiver, and that is the last piece that I need to finish fully upgrading the Overseer's Guardian. So that is really great news. We are going to go ahead and sell Ashmaker. It is a great gun, but there's just... It would be too expensive to keep it in bullets. Did not find anything else in Cleo's inventory other than ammo that I was really wanting. So I've actually already bought a little bit of 308 from Debbie Daisy. I keep calling her Debbie. Because I did find this and got excited and was like, I'm going to need ammo. But I am... Oh, and I also bought a bunch of junk from her too. I am going to need more than this, but it's at least a place to start. And I'm also running very low on 10mm ammo. If I buy that, that is going to get me up to a point where I've got about 150, and that is in the range that I like to run. Meanwhile, this 45 ammo, I don't want to sell all of it because I may have to use the Overseer's Guardian a bit before I get to a weapon workbench. However, we can sell most of it, and that means that we have just about cleaned Cleo out of caps. We've got ourselves some replenished ammo for the 10mm. We've got some 308 ammo and just a little bit of 45 left. And that is really some awesome news. I wonder if I can actually go ahead and make a... No, I do not have the resources on hand to make a standard receiver, so it's going to have to wait until I get back to the weapon workbench at Hangman's Alley. Still, really could not have asked for a better surprise at the end of today's episode. We are going to go ahead and talk to Hancock here and get him to join us. And where are you, buddy? Here he is. Instead of sitting on his nice, comfortable couch, he has decided to come up here and act a little bit like James Dean and lean against the wall. Hey, MacReady. So it turns out that I do not require your services anymore. So I'm going to need back all this armor that I let you borrow. But you still have your duster and your hat, so you can put those back on. Enjoy that. I am now over encumbered. And Hancock, I need you to go ahead and become my companion so I can put this armor on you.
Here, for protecting my stash.
Well,
Wise decision.
okay, well, thanks for the caps. And she tricked me.
Body trick.
Mary is just
She got what she
not a
deserved.
very good criminal, it
Yeah.
turns out.
That's usually how the story goes around here. Let me tell you, this classy little tri-corner hat of mine is getting heavy. Am I turning into the man?
I don't know, Hancock.
Spend
Power
all my time
corrupts.
Putting down the people I would have been proud to scheme with just a few years ago. I need to take a walk again. Get a grip on what.
And, well, if you leave, what happens to Good Neighbor?
You the mayor?
Hey, the mayor's still the mayor, whether he's in residence or not. I've walked out of here plenty of times. Keeps me honest. Can't let power.
Well, good for you for at least trying to keep power from corrupting you.
You're heading out? Why not come
And
with
I
me?
suppose the mayor of Good Neighbor is not absolute power,
Just be the right
so
kind of
it's probably not
Let
going
me
to
just have a
corrupt
little chat with the community
absolutely.
first. Give them the news.
Really, if it wasn't for the rampant drug use, I think Mary would like Hancock a lot. So he says he's busy. He's busy doing nothing. We need to speed this along, Hancock. I don't want broken legs.
Everybody, gather up. I got something you all need to hear. No rush. Everyone just take your time.
Yeah, Hancock, can we speed this along, please?
Time for your fearless leader to get back out there. Mix it up in the dirt before I forget what that feels like.
You can't leave, Hancock. We need you.
Hey, I'm always gonna be here in spirit, my man. Good neighbor and I, we got a connection. But like any hot and heavy relationship, sometimes you gotta spend time apart. Let things cool off. Remind yourself of who you are. So that's why I'm leaving. I'm still your mayor. I'm still gonna be here when you need me. But it's time for me to stop living so damn comfortable. Because we all know, no one in power deserves to be comfortable for long. Now, what's the...
I agree with that sentiment 100%, Hancock. No one in power should be comfortable for long.
Of the people, for the people. And don't let...
Speaking of being uncomfortable, I am taking a lot of damage from over encumber, so...
Hey, Hancock.
Hancock? Yeah, you want to come with me? Yes.
Done.
Let's go.
That was the coolest goal in the Commonwealth.
Hey, MacReady, don't wait up.
I always like the little interactions between the different companions. Well, we'll send him to Starlight, because that's where everyone else is gone. Hancock, on the other hand, would you like to get armored up? I bet you would. Probably time to start looking for some combat armor for my companion. We've got some, but it would probably be best to go ahead and finish getting him all set up with combat armor. Is that everything? I think it is. Yeah, we've got... Oops. We've got a chest, arm, and another arm, and a leg, backpack, helmet, and you've got to put on some Under Armour, because I'm not running around with a ghoul in his underwear. His coat and hat are pretty cool, and I kind of like the hat, but we can't take that from him. That is his property. So Hancock is looking ready to hit the road, and I think that we've probably done enough to call it a part. And Mary needs to get some water, get some food, so we'll come back next time and decide what is the next step. If you liked this episode, hit the like button. If you didn't like, tell me why in a comment, because constructive criticism is the best way that I know how to improve as a content creator. Until next time, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.